Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Submission Radio Morning After. I'm Danis. I'm very excited. There's so much happening in the world of MMA as I adjust my light. I feel like I'm a little bit weird looking this morning. Hey, welcome to the program. I have a great lineup here. I have a bunch of fun people joining me on this one. There's a lot that happened over this past weekend, so I'm excited to have a coffee, react. It's 6:22 a.m. here in Melbourne. But it's a little bit later around the world with my guests here today. First up, super excited about this. I've always wanted to have this man on. You know him from Remember the Show and all the amazing work that he's done. That includes this past weekend at Dirty Boxing. We absolutely destroyed it. Jason Anik, welcome to Submission Radio for the first time. How about this? First time. Unbelievable.
Pleasure to be on with you, and you're too kind with the words. But yeah, Dirty Boxing Championships over the weekend. It's a whirlwind, I tell you. But anyone that hasn't checked out DBX, Dirty Boxing, check it out because it's punches, elbows, spinning stuff, ground and pound to the finish. But it's as exciting as as exciting a brand of combat sports as I've seen. 3-minute rounds. So it was a great weekend. And I appreciate the Kawas and Ice Bags, Josh McClain, and everybody else. Platinum Mike Perry, give me the shot.
Dude, you absolutely crushed it. I can't wait to get into it a little bit more. My other guest here joined me for the whole show, from MMA Fighting, BTL, all the great reactions and interviews, the one and only Mike Heck. He's wearing a hat that Jason really likes.
How we doing? Happy Labor Day weekend to everyone watching from the U.S. right now. It's a New England takeover. I love it. I'm happy to say that I watched every second of DBX3 and covered it for the website on Friday night. A lot I liked. It was a good card. Nasty KO from Biggie Boy at the end. So let's talk about it.
That's it, man. And then a little bit later on in the show, CGI insider Adam Jones joins us as well from the ground. A lot of interesting stuff from there as well. Now, Jason, let's get into Dirty Boxing, man, right off the top, because we saw a big title, a massive title given to Rosenstruck. He was trying to sleep with it. It was taking up the whole bed. He put a guy out unbelievably. We saw some other big moments in there. What sort of stood out to you that you can sort of break down for me and Mike?
So, Mike said, right, there was a lot he liked, and I've done a lot of these smaller shows. Obviously, my twin brother, John Anik, works for the UFC, so I've sort of followed him for a long time. But this is my third show with Dirty Boxing, and I do think they're leveling up. Just to cut right to the chase, my brother talks about bouts of consequence, right? And if you don't have guys that are actively competing, trying to chase real belts or real competitive matches that are sort of in the primes of their career, how consequential are these bouts? But we're starting to get there with Dirty Boxing. So first belt on the line, and yeah, it was heavy. I think the thing weighs like 30 pounds. Briefcase it came in was sweet. Jairzinho Rozenstruik was supposed to face the face of the promotion to some extent, Rob Perez, the Wolf, who had won 2 fights in Dirty Boxing. He's from Worcester, Massachusetts, which we all like. But he got injured. He wasn't able to compete. So Rakeem Cleveland was stepped up, asked for the opportunity to face Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And it was a big moment for the promotion. Dare I say, the fact that he ended up asleep wasn't the worst visual for the promotion, but it was unbelievable. First 5 fights of the nights were knockouts. You saw it, Mike, but it really is unbelievable. It's a lot of fun. It moves fast. And even the decisions are all very quick, 9 minutes, and really tough to call who won. A lot of competitive fights.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Mike, what are some of your favorite moments?
Kat Nelson is an absolute animal. She impressed me in the early prelims. I understand why she was so upset she wasn't on the main card. She put a whooping on Kalinda Faria. She's fun. She's very fun. Her and Jesse Jess is going to be real fun. Hopefully that's the fight that gets made. Brian Battle, I mean, it was cool to see him in there. I understand why people are a little upset that he made weight, but didn't make weight like the week before. So I get that. And he fought a dude that had no right being in the ring with him. So I was a little perturbed about that. But Biggie Boy's that Hector Lombard getting upset real quick was kind of a shocker to me.
Crazy. Hector Lombard, right? It was
out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Yeah,
Well,
there was some cool stuff that happened.
Well, and the vibe, right? It's at a boat hangar in Coconut Grove, Miami. We also had a fight between a security guard and one of the fighters after he exited the ring. So that was entertaining, but it's really fun. Shaq was in the building. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool vibe, and you have guys like Landon Quinones, who's a high level fighter, had a couple fights in the UFC, fought Nasrat Haqparast on short notice, gets a loss there, but there's some high level fights. A lot of guys that sort of maybe didn't make it. Mike Breeden, who fought Landon Quinones, fought in the UFC, finished his last fight in the UFC, gets unceremoniously cut. So he's found a bit of a home in dirty boxing, but they're doing a lot of things right. You can be sure.
Tyson Nam was in the first fight and fought Ricky Bandejas, which if you watched old Bellator back like 8-9 years ago, Ricky's the guy who handed James Gallagher a loss. And that was the first fight. That was the first prelim.
Well, in the opener on the main card, I don't think this will be the last time you hear this name, but Milos Janicic, who's 18-3 in MMA. He's from Montenegro. He's going to be headlining in MMA in December there. I said to him on the streets, I was like, I think you potentially could be a UFC champion one day. And he looked at me, he said, he's like, it's too far, almost like what he can achieve in whatever promotion locally, right? He's huge where he's from already. So I think he wants to cross over to the UFC potentially, but what that looks like from a career standpoint might be different. But just shout out James Dat Loose Cannon. That's his nickname, right? In the co-main event, the guy who knocked out Hector Lombard, James Dat Loose Cannon. How about that nickname?
Love that nickname. What about Alex Caceres on the prelims as well?
Yeah.
It's like a UFC. This card has bigger UFC names than some UFC fight nights, Mike, right? This guy. I don't know how these guys are out of the UFC. I'm like, this guy, wow, man. Brian Battle.
I don't even know if Caceres is actually out of the UFC. I don't know because
USADA's still showing up. He is not official, but they let him fight.
Let him do it.
He was sort of chasing.
They didn't even know. They're like, wait, he did what?
But what I will say about Brian Battle's fight, right? It wasn't so much, Mike, 100% that they just brought in a can, right? There's not a lot of information a lot of times on these guys, whether it's a Muay Thai background or whatever it is. So sometimes you get caught a little bit. And also too, Battle had just been in a camp. If you slow it down, there was a little power behind some of those shots. So that was probably the worst fight of the night. But I do think there was a little bit of flukiness in there. But yeah, I'd be lying if that was obviously his opponent, the worst performance of the night. But I think there was some flukiness in there because you see a guy like James Cannon in the co-main event. He said to me after the fact, he's like, a lot of people didn't train. He's like, I trained for this 3-minute rounds. A lot of people showing up for a paycheck, not me. And a lot of these guys believe maybe there could be a future in this promotion that's kind of hits different from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah. Well,
here's some things I want to say. Here's some things I want to say about DBX. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. I love the pacing. I talked to Perry about this about a week and a half ago, and I was like, I think the pacing of these cards is incredible. It's just boom, 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 boom. We're not messing around. It's very BKFC-ish where we're just going from one fight to the next to the next. The name value is great. As Jason said, the vibes are spectacular. They are spectacular. I love the hanger. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see this event go anywhere else. If it's going to leave the hangar, it needs to be at another place just like it. I love the vibe. I love the small crowd atmosphere. It's very, for all the pro wrestling nerds out there, it's very ECW-ish. When Gamebred, Bare Knuckle was doing their thing, this is how I envisioned it. And Dirty Boxing is sort of taking the ball and run with it. I love the feel of it. And if we could put Jason back on the screen, I'm going to tell you one thing. Another thing that I really loved that's not getting enough credit, the ring announcer. I don't know who that ring announcer was. That dude was spectacular on Friday night. He was outstanding.
That warms my heart, and I'll choose my words carefully. We've been through. I'll say we as Dirty Boxing Championship. We've been through a few of them, and his name is Michael Hansen. I met him at Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship. We were in touch after the last Dirty Boxing event almost immediately, and he crushed it. And I love him. And I'm really happy that he got this opportunity because I think it's a unique one and potentially could become something bigger than what it is. So I love that you shouted him out.
Yes. And one more thing I will say, and maybe you'll like this and maybe you won't, Jason. 15 fights is too many. Too many for a card. It was a little much. Well, I like 8 to 10 is the sweet spot. 15, it was, even though the fights are great and it went quick, 15 was just, it seemed like a lot to me.
So I love that feedback, and I would actually want to think about it. But that's a piece of information that I'll bring to them most certainly, because what I'll tell you is we were all a little bit surprised that all 15 fights held true. So that could be a part of it. Do you know what I mean? That maybe we didn't lose any, and perhaps that, but that's good feedback. The show itself, I'm used to sitting behind my brother from the first prelim, right? As I sit at 146 on the East Coast. No disrespect. I'm sure that fight times for some people in different parts of the world are hard, but you get it, right? Some of these 8 hours. So I think it was maybe 5.5 hours, but your point's well taken. But those first 5 went by pretty quick.
They did.
Jason, man. Well, congratulations. As we wrap up, I just want to quickly get your thoughts. What dream fight? Just give me 1 or 2 dream fights. What would you like to see?
In Dirty Boxing?
Yeah.
So Nate Diaz was in the building for Dirty Boxing, and I'd like to see him face Platinum Mike Perry in Dirty Boxing. And what's interesting, Mike Perry right now in bare knuckle. He belongs in bare knuckle right now, but the idea that maybe Dirty Boxing wouldn't be the next step for Mike Perry, and it's for some of these guys taking that next step, whatever it may be, grappling, all these guys, whether they get cut from the UFC, whatever it may be, this Dirty Boxing could be a better home maybe than there has been. And by no means is that the goal for us to be the home for these retiring fighters. But yeah, my dream matchup, Platinum Mike Perry and Nate Diaz, saw them in the facing off against each other a couple nights back. That's the one.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, there he is, Jason Anik. I appreciate you joining us on the show. Got to get you back on for a proper long one. Have a great weekend, and thanks for joining me here.
Great to see you guys face to face. Appreciate it.
Take care, my friend.
Oh, man.
All right, Mike. There's so much happening, dude. All right, so like I said, a little bit later, Adam Jones, CGI Insider, is going to join us. He's there on the ground with Craig, obviously, there for Street X. He'll give us a little bit of a lowdown towards the end of the show. Let's get into it as well, man, because Misfits Boxing just dropped. You did a great reaction with Casey, who, by the way, shortly after put up a little tweet asking how much the show pays. Looks like our guy Casey's trying to get in the ring over there at Misfits Boxing. I wonder who we can match him up with. But let's talk about the big main event, dude. Darren Till was able to put Luke Rockhold out in devastating fashion. It was shocking to see the way that it went down. I just want to show everybody a little bit of footage here. This is the fight right here. And while Luke started off strong, unfortunately, he got caught in the same manner that he gets caught in a lot of his fights. Just brutal stuff there with his leg getting caught behind him. Darren Till having a massive evening. Felt like a big fight for Misfits. Like, it felt like people actually paid attention to this one. And it looked like a good performance for Darren Till, who looked in shape and sharp. And, we haven't seen him in that great of a shape in a really long time. Usually his knees plaguing him. What do you make of this victory and night for Darren Till and how this fight actually went?
I mean, I said this on the post-fight show that we did. Darren's in the right place right now. Like, he should never mention, I want to go back to the UFC, or he should fight nowhere else but Misfits Boxing. Like, that is built for him. He could be the face of that promotion. And I think if you actually watch the event, they do a really good job. Like, there is some like sort of BKFC-ish vibes to it where, I mean, you really got to be into the influencer boxer scene to follow along with every single thing that's happening. But when they put on a big event, and I mean like a lot of names that expand beyond the casual fan base and beyond the influencer boxer scene, like, they do it up real good. Like, having Darren and Luke, like, they built this fight up great. Tony Ferguson built this fight up great, even though we felt kind of icky about it heading in. The result, even though the stoppage was terrible, it was a great result for MMA fans. Tony Ferguson getting back in the win column. The Dylan Danis thing was silly, but I thought he sort of handled himself great, even though he fought maybe the worst fighter we've ever seen, competed in an MMA fight since James Toney. But having said that, like, this is a big deal. Like, traffic-wise for MMA fighting, this was like UFC 319-ish in terms of like interest levels. It might even like surpassed most UFC events. Like, this is a very big deal to a lot of the fan base. And I don't know if that transcends into pay-per-view buys, because they charge $50 for this friggin' thing, which was a terrible mistake on their part. But people probably, as they do with UFC pay-per-views, they don't buy it. They probably streamed it or stole it or just watched along on social media. But I mean, like I said, the traffic for this thing was friggin' ginormous. People were very into it. So shout out to Misfits. Shout out to Jose, who went and covered it. Like, dude,
Jose did a great job over there.
Yeah.
Ben Davis doing a hilarious job on the microphone, just holding that microphone, not letting it go. We'll watch it and watch a little bit of footage back in a sec. Darren Till, called out Carl Froch. But you also got names like obviously KSI in the mix. You got names like Nate Diaz in the mix. I think you mentioned him. He wants Masvidal, which I don't know about that one. But looking at it, who would you give him next? Is there a name that you want to see him fight next to keep this thing going?
Anybody but Carl Froch. I could care less. I do not care about that fight at all. It's just like Jake fighting Tank is so silly and obnoxious that I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense. And Jake's like 100 pounds bigger than Tank. So it's almost hilarious to me how silly this all is. But like when Jake was fighting actual boxers, like I didn't give two shits about that. Like no one cares. And I certainly don't want to see Darren Till fight an actual boxer. I wanted to see him fight MMA guys or like influencer guys. Yeah, $50 for reals. Plus, like, yeah, and it was a hard time buying it too. I finally eventually got there, but it took forever.
Dude, the DAZN app.
It was terrible. I couldn't buy it.
Oh my God. It kept telling me I was watching it on another device. Because I was logged in. I was like, oh my God, dude. I was going to, illegally do it because I couldn't deal with after purchasing it, putting it on properly. Like it was so bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Mike
Perry would be incredibly fun. I mean, guys like that, man, like this is who Darren should be fighting. Like, this is what Misfits Boxing is. Like, former pro boxers and former champions should not be competing in Misfits Boxing. I know the Andrew Tate thing might be a thing. If Darren wants to punch him in the face, like, I would certainly watch that happen because Darren would probably annihilate him. So I would certainly pay for that. But these are the types of names he should be fighting. I don't want to see him against anyone with like any legitimate boxing chops.
I feel like it's good though. Like for the first time, I'm like, all right, this whole Darren Till narrative, this side quest since he left the UFC, it's starting to make a little bit more sense now. Looks like he's taking it seriously. You know what I mean? He came in shape. There's some good options for him. This is better than him being in the UFC right now. I think just being out here doing this thing. Hopefully he does address his knee issues and eventually comes back and gets down the track. What about Luke Rockhold? This is the crazy thing, right? The guy's in his 40s. He's done the BKFC. He's done the karate combat. Former UFC champion. Former Strikeforce champion. I know that he's getting a lot of crap in the comments, but you got to give it to the guy. Like, he'll actually just put himself out there and do the stuff that probably he shouldn't. He came out there and it was just like, dude, for those that didn't realize it, like, boxing is obviously not a strong suit, and he took on Darren Till, the thing that he's best at. And, you know, he pumped the jab a little bit, but obviously he still has those drawbacks when it comes to his boxing. And he took a devastating knockout that could potentially change someone forever. What do you want to see next for Luke Rockhold? I feel like maybe he's just got to wrap it up, right? Like, I know you mentioned maybe a bit of karate combat because he did well there, but the knockouts that he's sustained have been absolutely devastating, starting from Jan Blachowicz when he went up to like, this guy's been copping damage left and right.
Even the Costa fight, like, that fight was one of the funniest fights I've ever seen, and it was like a battle. And honestly, like, to me, and I remember doing that post-fight show with Jet after that event, and we were all in agreement, like, because he retired that night, like after the loss to Paulo Costa, where he was done. We were like, this is the second best MMA retirement behind like Robbie Lawler. Like, this is the perfect way for him to go. He goes out in a blood and guts battle. Everyone counted him out. Everyone thought he's just got to get done up. And he went out there and had like a fight of the year contender, lost, and then retired. So we were just like, sweet, on his merry way. And then he goes and fights freaking Mike Perry in BKFC. And we're like, what in the world are we doing here? And yes, he had the karate combat thing, and that's cool. Do some grappling, I guess. Like, do that. Or if you're going to do karate combat, like, just fight a bunch of dudes. Like, fight whoever Brian Battle fought on Dirty Boxing. Just fight him in karate combat and, like, get yourself a highlight. But, yeah, I don't really want to see him fight anymore. And I hate being that guy to be on here and just be like, stop fighting. But I think there are probably people much closer to him than I who should be giving him that same advice after just the beating and the damage he has taken over these last 2 decades. Like,
it's brutal.
It's a brutal game, and he's got money, and he's a model, and I'm sure he's got brand deals. I'm sure he's doing the damn thing financially, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what else is there for him competition wise, unless he's going to do like UFC BJJ or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing about dirty boxing, right? I like that they'll take their legends and they'll set them up in these fights. A lot of them, maybe not Hector Lombard this past weekend, but a lot of them, like the Andre Arlovskis and stuff like that, like they'll put them in there and the guys will just knock out their opponents. So maybe like Luke can fight like some unknown guys on that. But really, like it's like what you said, the guy's got the money. He's got all the opportunities. I know he loves all the extreme stuff, but I like that he's doing the Jackson podcast. They should stick to that. And I'd love to see him take a real break because I'd hate to see him 10 years down the line and the impacts that these knockouts are having. What about Tony Ferguson, though, on the flip side of the coin? We were all like shitting ourselves as MMA fans when he was going to fight Salt Papi, right? I just want to go back here. One of the worst stoppages in the history of MMA.
It's so bad.
I mean, boxing. Look at this. So Salt Papi right here, for those that missed it, is intelligently defending himself as the referee hops in right there. Insane stuff.
Obviously, we're all happy for Tony Ferguson. No one happier than our old friend Shaheen Al-Shadi. Like, no one is happier than Shaheen Al-Shadi that Tony Ferguson got his hand raised last night. Besides maybe Tony Ferguson. All right, maybe Tony's a little happier than Shaheen, but Shaheen is right there with him. He's been waiting for this for 6 years to be able to say into a live microphone or into social media, Tony Ferguson won a fight. I always believed that he could do it. And good on him, man, because I actually think he was starting to break Salt Papi. Like, Salt wasn't like done, but he was on his way. He was starting to get tired. Tony was putting a lot of pressure on him. He was hitting him, but yeah, like, give the dude a chance. He had just won 2 rounds. He was up 2 rounds on Tony. He had thumped him a couple of times and stung him, and Tony's facial expressions changed quite a bit. But man, Tony, I actually, like, even early in the fight, like when Salt was beating him, I was like, wow, Tony actually like looks pretty decent. Like, movement was good. His jab was good. Like, some of the combinations he was throwing was pretty good. He was leaving his chin up in the air a little too much, which is why Salt cracked him, but he started fixing that, like, in the second round. Like, he looked a little bit better in the second round. In the third round, he just was like, F this, I'm going full El Kukui, and just threw a million punches and back Salt against the ring. And rather than like give this dude any space, he just threw as many punches as he possibly could. And then the worst referee in the history of combat sports just happened to be the third man in the ring and was like, you know what? Let's give Tony a win here. And they did. So good for Tony. Love to see him keep boxing. I'm sure there's other names we can throw him in there against. And yeah, he's not going to fight Connor and Habib. You should probably like stop throwing those names out. But you know what Misfits wants, Dennis? They want him to fight Dylan Danis in an MMA fight. So like,
great.
I don't know why we're not doing
fight.
this.
Yeah, that's a great fight. I love that. I love that fight for him. It's like, get Danis in there. I reckon it's great. We know like Ferguson's not going to take any significant damage in that one. That's a big fight. I feel like everyone would want to check that out. Like, that's as big. That's for me bigger than this Papi thing. And then I just think it's hilarious because there's some of the worst refereeing ever on this Misfits card. Like the Luke Rockhold one. Luke Rockhold was getting annihilated. Like at one point, he put his knee down on the mat and it wasn't even counted by the referee.
It was a straight knockdown. Like he got knocked down.
Just like keep going. And I felt for Luke because I know, like, even just from getting my ass kicked in the gym, like, you know, like if you hurt, I could tell like he wasn't looking for his way out. But I think like when his knee hit the ground, I think he at least expected like a count or something. Yeah. And then, you know, Till was coming at him that whole time. And then the guy's just like watching it. And then obviously the knockout, which was rough. Yeah, so Dylan Danis picked up quick win. Hey, by the way, Danis, just quickly before we get off the event, talking about the UFC, wants to get in the top 15. Said, you know, and there's not that much name value, which I don't know, like in welterweight, there's a lot going on. What do you want to see for Danis? Do you want to see him finally have this crack at the UFC and potentially, you know, really show us his potential because he'll be truly tested? Or do we want to just see him hang around Misfits a little bit longer? I mean, this Tony Ferguson fight to me sounds very interesting. I don't know if the UFC is really going to give him any favorable matchups. I feel like he might get spat out. And then, by the way, when he does get spat out of that system, that kind of hurts his credibility outside of it anyway, because then he loses a lot of that. Or what do you want to see with Danis?
I mean, I don't know if he could lose any luster at this point. Like the way he performed against Logan Paul, like that was one of the worst fights ever. and he got badly dusted up in that fight. And it was
Yeah.
one of the worst fights ever. So
Yeah.
somehow he was able to come through from that and still find relevance in here.
But isn't that incredible? How does he do that? It's
I have no
incredible. Like
idea.
this is
I
the
truly
biggest
have no
run
clue.
someone's had from doing nothing. And I like Danis, and he's a good guy. But he just picked up a win. And after that win, people kind of forgot about stuff, and they're just like, Dylan Danis, there he is.
That's how this game works. Like, winning changes everything. Like, you could say and do the worst shit in the world. Like, remember Tiger Woods was like public enemy number 1 after the whole incident with his ex-wife and the 9-iron and all of that. Like, and guess what? Like, people hated him. And then he won a tournament, and they were like, oh, Sundays with Tiger are so much better than Sundays without him. Winning solves everything. And that's what happened here. For Danis, like, I actually think, like, at this point, he's really trying to get signed by the UFC. Like, this is not a joke. This is not a gimmick. I think he's truly trying to do this. But
they wouldn't sign him, you reckon?
I'm not saying, like,
I feel like like even a Connor or something could get him signed, surely.
But here's the problem, though. The problem is the stuff that happened with the Logan Paul fight and stuff that has happened like prior to that. And since
maybe the Khabib incident, you reckon, has the
part of it. Yeah. But the Logan stuff was crazy. Like, the whole stuff with Logan's, I believe now, wife and the mother of his child that led to a friggin' lawsuit. Like,
my God. How did that even happen? It's just insane.
Because he was trying to sell a fight and did it really badly. And it led to this whole thing. And I actually think Dylan did a great job this week. Like, he was still kind of a thorn in your ass, but he wasn't saying like deplorable shit all week. So, and he told Aaron Jose Youngs before the fight, like, you know, he's talked to the UFC. Hunter's basically said like, I'm not really sure. And he's had a conversation with Dana White, and Dana's never said no, but Dana has said like, dude, you're a liability. So essentially what he said was the UFC brass is telling him, like, prove that you're not this absolute psychopath. Show us that you could sell a fight, but not be like the biggest piece of shit of all time. And then maybe we'll give you a look. So I think he's really trying here. Like, he's trying to find that line between fight promotion and just being a complete piece of shit. And I think he found like the perfect medium. Like, I think he found the perfect middle ground there this whole week. Enough where Luke Rockhold like got in a fight with him on an elevator, but not. Hey, that's not a bad shit where he's gonna get sued. Yeah.
That's not a bad little thing. I was gonna a little fight there, but they're like 2 weight classes above. What about Eddie Hall? And the I don't know what
they should definitely do. Like a grappling match or something.
Just have him attack him in Poland or something. But the funny thing as well is
he was there. They had a face off like after.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was the dumbest, silliest face off ever. I was going to quickly say as well. Also strange because in the UFC you don't make that much initially. Like, not sure what kind of deal he's hoping for, but surely from Misfits he's getting paid like 4 times what you would like entry level. The UFC don't, like, we saw what's happened with people that have tried to negotiate like an okay contract from the debut. Like, you got to be a real name value for the UFC to offer you a good amount of money as you walk on in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Danis is getting like, is even going to be offered like 100 and 100 just to sign up. Like, they would give him,
not even close. Not even close.
It's a real risk there. But anyway, interesting stuff from Misfits Boxing. We have Adam Jones joining us in about 5-6 minutes. Before we do, Mike, I just want to quickly talk to you about the big fights this coming weekend, right? You got UFC Paris. And of course, the main one I want to talk to you about is this Kaya Bahaya Imavov fight I feel like we've been waiting for Kaya to come back and fight now for a long, long time because it's taken him a year to lock in a fight. He's kind of this unfortunate case of people now saying, well, this guy kind of yaps a lot and he doesn't really fight. He's tried to fight. Like, he's tried to fight Whitaker. He's tried to fight Imavov. He's tried to fight Hernandez, I'm pretty sure, at one point. He tried to fight everybody. It just didn't work out for him. He was in this weird spot. Now he's fighting in the main event, UFC Paris. This is only weeks after cutting weight to be the backup UFC 319. But again, now he finds himself in this weird position where we've got Fluffy and Adia fighting in October. And again, there's no confirmation that he'll get the title shot if he beats Imavov, because technically, respectfully, he's probably name value one of the smaller options out of the all 3, right? What do you make? Do you think that if he goes out here and beats Imavov, in an impressive way, that guarantees anything for him? Or is he still in the sweepstakes waiting to see what happens in October?
None of these guys can guarantee themselves anything. It's unfortunate. If there was the inverse and we were getting Fluffy RDR on Saturday, one of those guys could. These guys, for the exact reason you just said, like the name value is just not there with either of them. Like if we're looking at this from a meritocratic perspective, like this is Bellator circa 2020. Nasruddin Imavov would not even be fighting Caio Borralho. He would be fighting for the belt. He would have already gotten a title shot, and Caio would be fighting somebody else for the chance to be the next number one contender. But this is the UFC. This is about selling pay-per-views and getting social media views. And unfortunately, these guys they're just not like, they're not there. And that's why when Dana announced the Fluffy RDR fight, he was like, yeah, Imavov Borralho, definitely not a number one contender fight. This is going to be like, who is going to wow us the most? And unfortunately, it's tough, man. It's tough scenes for both of these guys, because I feel like no matter what happens on Saturday, whoever wins Fluffy RDR is getting the title shot. Like I think the timing of this fight couldn't suck.
Dude, we got RDR is fighting for a 5th time. Like, and all against Fluffy. Like, and Kai is one of my favorite guys to talk to. He's such a good dude, and I feel like what he's done, he's kind of like the fighting nerds guy that's kind of, I feel like, elevated that team, because he's kind of like the spokesperson of them in a lot of ways. He's at all the fights, and he's such a good dude. But dude, how could you deny RDR if he wins? And then Fluffy, like, again, RDR fought 4 times and couldn't be beaten. If Fluffy goes out there, beats RDR, like, how can we deny that? And people feel like RDR might be one of the tougher matchups for Khamzat anyway. So if Fluffy goes out there, beats him, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, we did a ranking show the other day, and Jen and I talked about, we were like, rank of these 4 guys, rank the most difficult to least difficult test, like on paper, for Khamzat Chimaev. And we're both in agreement that it's like, it's RDR, Fluffy are 1 and 2. And then Caio's 3 and Imavov is 4, despite having like a damn good resume and finishing really good dudes. But it just seems for some reason like Imavov just can't get over that hump. Now, if he goes out there and just rocks Caio's world and just puts a hammer on him, then I think at this point, like, you just have to give this dude the respect. But I just don't know what happens, man. I think Fluffy is like the more interesting fight of all of them. I think stylistically, he could give Khamzat, he could just Fluffy all over Khamzat. And that could create problems, because if that Fluffy who fought Roman Dolidze shows up against literally anybody in that division, not named Khamzat Chimaev, he is winning that fight. And that guy the guy who fought Roman Dolidze could beat Khamzat Chimaev. Like, that dude ain't losing to nobody. He's an absolute train. He's an absolute problem.
Well, he brings in the wrestling, the cardio. Like, he poses crazy questions to Khamzat.
And his striking's getting way better.
His striking, and you know he's coming for Khamzat. It's going to be 2 trains, but unlike DDP, he knows what to do there. And then RDR as well. Like, these fights are crazy. Just quickly, and by the way, we had someone ask if Caio is going to be impacted by this weight cut. He said he isn't going to be. It's hard to tell. I guess we'll see on the night. But who are you siding with, Imavov or Caio here?
It's tough, man. I'm leaning Caio slightly, but I honestly
hard,
don't
right?
know.
Because
I cannot
as
read
well
to save my life. Like, I get
this is
all
the
of
problem with
stuff.
Imavov. He just hasn't. I feel like he hasn't packaged himself well. Like, he's technically in a great spot, but the way that he's handled his public stuff with social media and like, he hasn't been very vocal, right? During the time, like Caio, he's been doing all the interviews. RDR has become like the new big face in MMA media. Like, whenever you and me speak to him, people always pay attention now. And I feel like everyone's in love with Fluffy. I feel like Imavov, people kind of forgot about him. Like,
yeah, because Imavov did the Cyril Gane thing, where it's just like, I ain't doing anything unless it's a title shot, but not having like the wherewithal to understand that this is the UFC in this division. And there are just names that are bigger than his. So like, him sitting around while Caio was like, yeah, dude, I want to fight that guy who nobody wants to fight. I want him, and calling him out for months at a time. And Imavov kind of coming back with like, nah, dude, he ain't worth my time. I'm fighting for the belt, and then not getting a title shot, and then having to fight Caio anyway. Like, this hurts him so bad. Like, Cyril got lucky that the whole John Jones, Tom Aspinall thing happened, because he wouldn't be getting a title shot after that last fight. There's no way. And I still wouldn't give it to him. I would have given it to Derek Lewis. People know that that's where my head is at. And I still think Derek Lewis should get that fight. But
you got to let it go.
This
Mike.
is kind of what's happened. Like, he's lucky he gets the hometown main event. So that's really cool. So that'll be a nice moment for him. And that crowd is going to be absolutely on fire.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
No doubt about it. But this is a must. I mean, he's a younger guy. He's not like 38, but dude needs to win this fight so badly. Like, this is a must win for Imavov. I think Kyle can lose and still work his way back to a title fight. I don't think Imavov has that luxury. So this is such a big fight for him. I lean Kyle slightly, but I don't know. I truly don't know how this fight's going to go because I can never get a good read on Imavov. But I got to tell you, you know me, I'm an honest guy. And if I see something I don't like, I'm going to straight up tell you I don't like it. This card slaps. This card is going to be fun as hell. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. There's a lot cooking on this card. We're kind of running a little bit out of time. So I want to bring in a special guest right here, Mike. He is on the ground right now, getting ready for CGI Day 2. Repping Street X. Look at him right here. Adam Jones making his submission radio debut. It's a big episode right here. Adam, I appreciate you joining us. I know it's been a couple of big days. Break down for me and Mike, man. First things first, day 1 in the books. You're on the ground there, Street X, doing interviews, killing it in the game. Obviously, Craig doing a great job with this event. Give me a couple of highlights from yesterday that stood out to you.
Well, I mean, waking up this morning alive was a highlight for sure.
You and Oscar out last night. Had a good morning this morning.
We had a good nightcap, mate. That little tacker is trying to kill me, but we've had a good time. Day 1, unreal. I think, quintet, sometimes the matches, they don't try and go for the submission. Craig's obviously dropped a bit of cash to make that happen today, but great vibe in there. Everyone was having a blast. Joe Lopez was naked at one point.
Dude, Joe Lopez is a demon. Like, people thought this is a nice guy. He is a nice guy, but when he parties, Mike, I don't know if you've seen the footage. He's chill. He's having the best time of his life. Joe Lopez.
Cockroach, eh?
Oh yeah, Joe. Yeah, Joe can get after it, from what I hear.
No, but unreal. It was so much fun yesterday. Everybody was there. I got rinsed by John Danaher for about an hour. I tried to get an interview and he just attacked me the whole time.
What do you mean?
Mate, it was the footage is coming out. It's incredible. He's one of the funniest men I've ever met. Incredible.
Dude, well, he's got that he's a Kiwi, right? He's got a Kiwi sense of humor on him.
Oh, it was me sitting in a room while there was a bunch of people around us, and he suggested I take up swimming because I'm no good at jiu-jitsu.
What is he on about, man? Hey, by the way, I know, like, Craig started off yesterday in a pretty iconic way and kind of, reinformed that Cable Stevenson's a bit of a bitch for, pulling out of this. So where you sit on this one, Adam, man? Like, bit of a shitty thing to do what Gable did, right? Like, didn't really handle it, and especially when you and Craig and the boys, you guys, put so much effort into this one. It means so much for the community, and this happens.
Man, what an absolute piece of shit, eh? Like, he could have pulled out earlier. This is an event for charity, and this is how he handles business, But look, I'm more excited about Chael Sonnen being in the building.
Yes.
Having hopefully he beats the fuck out of Craig this time. But yeah,
you going for Chael? You going for Chael to beat your own brother, Craig Jones?
You don't know what it's like to have that man as your brother, right? Anybody, every time Craig faces anyone, I'm always cheering for the other person.
That's so good, man. Hey, just quickly as well, what are a couple of other things you're looking forward to from today that people need to check out on Flow Grappling, right? It's on the YouTube. People can check it out. What are a couple of other things people need to look out for?
Oh, man, today's going to be a banger. I think Team Australia is going to do it, eh? I love B-Team and Nicky Jonesy. That's what we call him. He's not Nicky Ryan anymore. That's actually my new brother. But that is going to be a banger. It's so hard to even pick one match, so much potential of just incredible matches today. I'm going to try and get a couple of hours sleep before I get there. But fuck, man, it's going to be sick, eh? Riff Raff, that'll be a good laugh. You know, he's a rapper, but it's more stand-up comedy. You know, but it's gonna be sick.
Yeah. By the way, have you seen Gordon Ryan? He was talking some more trash online about the event.
Did you see me interview him? He was there last night.
No, what?
He was there. Check my Instagram. You'll see me interviewing Gordon Ryan. I had to chase him down. He was standing in the bathroom watching people piss, but yeah, we got him.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. There's the exclusive there. Oh, by the way, Adam, break it down for me, man. Street X, you guys are doing a great job. The Ben Vickers t-shirt you guys created, just ping the cunt t-shirt on the back.
Amazing.
One of the best t-shirts ever created. Of course, you and Dan, you guys are killing it. I see you guys had a big activation, just went crazy in Vegas. Shout out to those guys.
Insane last night. We did the giveaway with the truck. There were like 4 or 5 cop cars there. The business owner was threatening to sue. And then we had to go around the corner, and it was mayhem, eh? But even last night, like everything pretty much sold out at the event. There was a lineup for hours. Hey, everybody wanted it for overpriced t-shirts and rash guards. Insane.
Hey, last one from me before I let you go get some sleep. Craig Jones seemingly disappearing after this one. What do you think your bro is going to be getting up to once this is all done?
Man, as long as he doesn't come back and spend any time with me, that'll be ideal. But I know he's.
You guys are going to go over and help JDM. I just spoke to Ben Vickers. You guys are going over for a couple of months, right? You're going to join him, help out as well?
I'll come along for sure. You know, I went over for the Volkanovski camp and spent a few days there. Volks won and Della, so I'm 2-0 in UFC champ camps. So Ben's flying me over. It's going to be a good time, mate.
Yeah, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? How does this one look? JDM Islam.
JDM takes Islam's head clean off for sure. I'll bet the house. Especially if I'm in the camp, then it'll be 3-0 UFC champ camps.
I love it. All right, we'll get you back on. Give us some more insider info from that, but I'll let you get some sleep. CGI 2 goes down shortly. Of course, check that out on the YouTube, The Flow Grappling. Adam Jones, thank you so much, my friend. What a debut. I appreciate you, dude.
What a man. What a man. Thank you, boys.
Take care. All right, Mike, that is it. Okay, as we wrap up, I know you got to go. There's big things happening this long weekend. Just want to quickly get from you, what is happening in MMA fighting? What can we check out this week? This coming week, it's Monday here in Australia. So what is happening? Because we got UFC Paris.
We got UFC Paris. So
cool things happening.
Yeah, the usual craziness with fight week, preview show, people's pre-fight show, post-fight show, all that fun stuff. It'll be I say it all the time, we can't miss you if you don't leave, and the UFC needed to leave for a week. So now we can miss them a little bit. They're coming back.
Dude, I thought, but they left. We got all this shit happening this weekend. So it's bigger than like a normal fight, like an Apex fight night card. There's more stuff happening without being around.
But we can't watch Misfits every weekend. Like we have to get back to the purity of combat sports to some degree. And I don't know if that's the UFC, but it is a little more pure than the Misfits game is. So very much looking forward to that. And the best news of all, we are out of the world's most famous Apex till November, and it's a great thing. So Lazy Bed, keep creating just absolutely effed up graphics. You do a tremendous job at that.
I love it.
And thanks for having me back, my man.
That's it, dude. As we wrap, final question from you. A lot of big announcements just last week. Let's take JDM and Islam out of it. What is the Mike Heck pick for the fight you're most excited about outside of that Islam JDM fight that got announced?
It's honestly, this might be the hottest take of all. Chevy versus Zhang Wei Li might be the best of all. Might be better.
Yeah, you like that they made it happen, huh? Well,
finally.
You know what? It's interesting because people aren't really talking about this fight, but time-wise, like you look at the age of both of the fighters, had to happen now or probably wasn't going to happen, right? That's one of the things. This was a little tiny window to make it happen.
There is more legacy stakes on the line in this fight that like by a mile than JDM versus Islam. Like from both sides. Like Zhang Wei Li can literally take Valentina's spot on the Mount Rushmore of women's MMA if she wins this fight. In my opinion, she absolutely does if she wins. And that, like, you don't get that often. Like, you don't get super fights with like those implications probably since Nunes Cyborg. That's probably like the last time we had something like that. And we have it here. Like this fight friggin' rocks. I'm so pumped for it.
Dude, it's crazy. It's on the same card.
Yeah.
JDM and Islam too. You're like,
Yeah, and we get Carlos, and we get Pratis and Leon.
I love the Pratis Edwards fight. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And now we get Blanchfield on the card against Tracy Cortez in a rematch, which, you know, Cortez kind of stole a win in that first one, but now we get to see if Blanchfield can get some comeuppance. So yeah, I mean, if you're a UFC fan, yeah, it's been kind of a slow burn outside of the 314s and the 317s to some degree, but yeah, I think we're gonna end the year strong. 320 looks great. 321 looks great.
I got a Survivor's Perth
great.
card with like 100 fights. I don't know. You might have to check in on me after that one.
Yeah, Perth might be tough. Perth might be a tough scene if we get 17 fights. But if 15's too many for dirty boxing, 17 is going to be a fucking nightmare for a UFC event.
And going to all right. Anyway, there he is, Mike Heck. Check it out. UFC Paris coverage and one of the best websites out there in the world, MMA fighting. I appreciate you. Go enjoy your long weekend. That is it for us here. Submission Ready Morning After. Big thank you to Adam Jones, Jason Anik. We will catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining us here on Submission